So in this video we're going to have a look at case statements. So this is a general setup of a case statement. So here you have case of some variable, say x, y, z, etc. of, so in other words, if x, y, or z is value 1, then these statements will be performed by the computer. If it's value 2, these statements will be performed by the computer. Otherwise, if this variable is none of these values, then these statements will occur. And in this case, like in the previous videos, your ifs have an end if. This case has an end case. So this is an example of a case statement. So let's say, for example, that a teacher is inputting the grade of their students. So grade here will be some text. So the text that can be entered for grade, for example, could be distinction, merit, pass, and fail. So here for distinction, the computer is going to give the boundaries for this distinction. In other words, what the student's mark is between to have gotten the distinction. So when they say x and y, the minimum mark for the distinction is 75, and the highest mark a student can get, for example, is 100. If you look at the end over here, what they are going to print to the user, it says your mark must have been between x, which is the lower boundary for distinction, and y, which is the higher boundary for a distinction. So for example, in order for someone to get a merit, their mark must have been between 60 and 74. For a student to pass, their mark must be between 40 and 59. And if they failed, they got between 0 and 39. Okay, so we're going to do an example in Word quickly. Okay, so this is the code. So now let's say, for example, that the person that's working with this program, when they're asked to enter the grade of the student, let's say they typed in pass. So what the computer is going to do now is it's going to look at what value has been entered for grade, which we have said now is pass, and what it's going to do is going to jump down this list to where it sees pass, and then it's going to perform these statements on the right. So in other words, it's going to make x become 40 and y become 59. So once it has done this, once it's gone to pass and set x and y to these values, it's then going to jump to the end of the case statement, and it's going to display back to the user, your mark must have been between x, which is 40, and y, which is 59. So the user would then see, your mark must have been between 40 and 59. So the statement over here would then print out this line back to the user. However, let's say that the grade is changed. Let's say instead of the user typing in pass, let's say they type in merit. The computer is then going to look through these values to find where merit occurs. So here it is here. It's going to then set x to be 60, y to be 74. Then it's going to jump to the end of the case statement and then print this message. So in this case for merit, it's going to say your mark must have been between 60 and 74.